4 processes. First was the front quarter, the rear quarter. Now we're going to take out our rib eyes and loins right out of this area. The pelvis extends right up here, and if you run your hand along the top of the spine, you'll feel right here where the pelvis hits. We're just going to cut back like this. We're going to cut down along the spine, keeping our blade kind of pointed down into the meat along the spine. And now this loin runs basically right along back here. Step over here so you can watch this. Right here it kind of gets a little bit wider, so we want to cut over here, and of course the last rib's here, so make sure we don't cut too deep at this point. Generally easiest, it's always easiest, instead of taking the rib eyes or the loins out from the spine, is actually from the rib cage side here. Just starting up front here first. You can see how now these are just peeling out. Okay, back here. Use your hands to separate a little bit. You'll feel some ribs, the end of the ribs right here. You want to keep your knife blade on this top side of those ribs. Cutting straight down, following the rib. There we go. You see that where these ribs are right there? Our last rib is right here. Alright, now we can take this out. And there is our rib eyes. One more process to show you is that right underneath that part of the spine are the tenderloins inside. And a lot of people, when they gut the animal, they cut those, get blood, stomach content all over them. This is one of the cleanest ways to remove the tenderloins. And what I do is I start by opening up this stomach cavity. Because what I want to do is just kind of release some of this pressure that's right here. Right underneath the same ribs right there. We're gonna get underneath them. And I still need to open this portion up here just to kind of relieve the pressure. I want to do it in a manner that I don't cut the stomach. But once I do this and grab the stomach here and kind of pull this out of the way, here, now I'm going to be able to reach in here and get the tenderloins out. It'll be like 2 little mini bread loaves. So knife underneath the ribs, reach in here, bring them from the back side, cut them low. This one actually broke off on me, and I'll cut up high, and I'm not sure why it broke on the bottom end, but there's the final product. There's a nice clean tenderloin that doesn't have stomach content and blood all over. That concludes the process of taking one side of this whitetail buck apart. You would now at this point roll the animal over, skin it back the same way, and the last thing you're going to be able to do, you're going to be able to cut right across here if you have a saw, or you're going to have to cut lower down, but you want to take this head and cape with you. You know, we have just one side of the animal on this pillowcase, and so now if we had more time, we might even tie a piece of cord or something if we could find a fence and let the wind take more heat out of this meat. But at this point, you know, we're going to go ahead and put it in game bags to keep it clean, and now we're going to get our pack ready and make it back to the truck. Cool. So one thing I like to do is I like to use these game bags, like I said, and the ones that I buy I actually can cut in half, and this is 1/2 of it. And this game bag here actually has probably been used about 3 or 4 times.
Really? They come out that clean when you
I put them in the washing machine. And this quarter here, of course, has our license and our evidence of sex. Now the nice thing is this is going to breathe and release more heat. And that game bag is going to help keep it clean. And now our front shoulder, we're going to place our front shoulder in this game bag. And at this point, after, generally the tenderloin here and the ribeye, I'm going to put these in a separate sack.
Sure.
Put all 4 of them together and 1 more of these. So really you can get by with just 2.5 sacks. And now at this point, just because my pillowcase will absorb some more blood or any moisture on the way back, I'm now going to put both of these quarters into my pillowcase. Back on?
Yes.
Now at this point we've got a rear quarter and a front shoulder in there. How much weight is that?
30 pounds, 25 pounds, 30 pounds.
Okay.
20 pounds?
Yeah, probably 20.
You're stronger than me, so.
Well, I don't know.
You're bigger.
20 or 25 pounds, and this isn't too much to put into a day-and-a-half pack. And if we didn't have our frame pack with us, we could put this into our day-and-a-half pack. And I'm telling you, it is so much easier to put 20 or 25 pounds on your back and start walking than to roll a game cart through all the open country with a whole animal on it.
Or snow.
And it's impossible. It's just a lot of strenuous work to drag an entire carcassed animal half mile, a mile to the nearest truck. This is so much easier. The meat's already cooling. You're not taking the rib cage and the legs and all this stuff with you. Obviously, if you're hunting on private land, a couple considerations. Does a landowner care if you take this apart way out there? More than likely not. If you're up in national forest or grassland, as long as you're not right alongside the road where it's visible to non-hunters or other people, take it apart out here. It's a great place to leave it.
I think that's the big thing is a lot of people, and even me, I've never seen it done. I didn't even know if you could legally do it. And if you can do it and you're not dragging a game cart or a sled or calling all your buddies to come get a deer that's out in the boonies, if you can do it yourself, why wouldn't you?
Hey, you know what? It's just one more extension of a great hunt.
Yeah, it really is. Cool, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
One more option. The day-and-a-half pack, more than 40 pounds of meat, it starts to pull on you. Once you get an external frame or even a good quality internal frame, you've got this hip belt here. Put all the weight on your hips. And it's amazing how easy it is to carry this out. So I was just going to show you really how nice something like this works. This particular pack has it has a shelf here, and we can just put that meat right on the shelf, and we might have to bunch them up a little bit like this. And if you can imagine putting 4 rear quarters from that deer right here, you can do this. And then we're just going to put these straps up here. Now this pack frame I've had for probably 10 years. It doesn't owe me anything. And I'm sure that I've carried 40 or 50 animals out on it, and it just keeps giving.
And say you were going to take, we've got a nice buck here, a trophy buck that we want to take the antlers with. Do you typically, are you putting them up here or strapping them on there with your bungee cords? Or
one thing you do have here is enough room if you want to put the heavy part of the cape down into here and then have the antlers out here.
Sure.
That's about these here. Once you put 2 rear quarters, and get your hip belt adjusted, this weighs nothing. You can walk all day. This is much easier than a game cart or dragging.